What's happening? John here from Cape Town in my office. I've been researching my new book, 10,000 Days, and I'm looking at the flow of business and how it's shifting and how it's changing. I was listening to a podcast called Pivot, which I highly recommend. Scott Galloway and this lady, I've forgotten her name, but it's a very good podcast. And Scott Galloway has some incredible ideas. He's a professor of marketing at NYU Stern in New York. And what he's tracking is the shift of business flows. And I thought it was really important for me to share because it really is fascinating to think about and actually give it a word or a term so that we know how to prepare for it. And what he says is that we went about 10, 15 years ago, went through a process of globalization where it was really important to be in the global flow of business and having offices around the world, having the sort of structure and infrastructure to move around the world was really important. And then we went through a process of digitization where having a digital first business or understanding digital was really important for us to get our heads around. And we know that many businesses that didn't become digital don't really are really around anymore. But the new flow of business, I think, is really interesting. It's called dispersion. And what dispersion means is that we are moving from the singular flow to dispersing where we spend money, where we congregate, and how we actually come together as a society. If you think about restaurants, we're not going to restaurants anymore, we're getting food delivered to us. If you think about education, soon we won't be going to school or to universities, that education will be happening at home. If you think about headquarters, we won't be going to the office that often anymore, maybe once or twice a week, but actually doing a lot of work from home. So in order for us to understand these flows, we need to put ourselves in the position whereby we're not fighting against the flow, but we're actually inside the flow. In other words, if you are servicing a headquarters, if you've got a salad bar, or a coffee shop, or a photocopy machine that services headquarters, remember or understand that that is a dying trajectory. Where you need to be focusing is the home, is how to uplift the home, create more home offices, and actually focus on creating this dispersion flow that moves towards the home and away from the office. If you're in restaurants, having a ghost kitchen is another way for us to understand that it's about delivering the food rather than actually going to the food. The one negative is that we're becoming more and more segregated, less and less social. We're not actually engaging with people even from our own circle, let alone people from other aspects or sectors of society. So there is a lot of isolation that's happening because of this, but really important to reach out and create more community while we go through this, but also to realize that we've moved from globalization to digitization to dispersion, and we have to set our businesses up in order to be ready for dispersion rather than globalization or digitization. Good luck out there. It's important to know these flows so we can set ourselves up for success and not complain while we're not having the old success we used to. Ciao from Cape Town.